Hello and welcome to the PFFUI podcast. On this month's episode, the PFFUI communications team joins President Tony Murray to discuss the importance of communication. Topics include communication at the local level, best practices, planning, and the use of artificial intelligence. Enjoy the show.
Hello, and welcome to the PFFUI podcast. I'm Tony Murray, your host. How was that, Erik?
You know what? That was spot on. That was really good.
All right, so on this edition of the podcast, Erik and I are flipping roles here. We're flipping.
What a exciting day.
All right, how are you, Erik?
I'm doing well, Tony. Yourself?
I'm doing fantastic.
Good. I'm glad.
We've been absent here for, I think, a month, so we're back with the podcast, and I think we've got an exciting show.
Yeah.
You ask me.
I mean, same, and I know that I am excited because today it's all about communications.
Today is about communication. So on this edition of the PFFUI podcast, we thought that it would be a good episode to talk about how the PFFUI does communications. How do we get all this good information that our locals are doing and what the PFFUI is doing out into the sphere, both through the podcast, but we'll dive a little bit deeper into social media. I think we've got some tips for listeners and maybe pulling back the veil on the why we do these things. But so we've created a pretty decent team that we call the comms team here at the PFFUI. And today we're going to talk to the comms team as our guests.
That's
so,
right.
Let's start with you. Erik, you're our communications director for the PFFUI. Why don't you give us a little background about yourself, a little intro, and then we'll meet the rest of the team.
Right. Well, Tony, thank you for having us on the program today. We're all excited to be here. So my name is Erik Scheub. I'm the communications director for the Professional Firefighters Union of Indiana. My day-to-day full-time job is I'm a firefighter paramedic for the Noblesville Fire Department up in Hamilton County. I'm a proud Hamilton County Professional Firefighters Local 4416 member. And I also serve as a dual role as their communications director for President Jim Butts and their executive board. I've been a firefighter for almost 10 years now. It'll be 10 years in March, so excited for that. I've started my firefighting career in the city of Evansville in 2016. Was there for just under 4 years before I lateraled up to the city of Noblesville. But before I was a firefighter, I worked in communications. I served as... Amazing how that works, right? There are guys that build houses. There are guys that do electrical work. There are guys that work on cars. I did communications.
And then there's the guys that communicate.
That's right. So did that for about 6 years. I worked in the Lieutenant Governor's office in their Office of Small Business and Entrepreneurship for 3 years as their communications director and small business ombudsman.
Who was that Lieutenant Governor?
That was Lieutenant Governor Sue Ellspermann.
Okay, yeah.
So she...
LG Sue.
Yeah, and she just retired from being president of Ivy Tech University. So I hope she enjoys her retirement if she's listening.
Shout out to Sue.
Shout out, Sue. And then I worked for a small nonprofit doing their media and PR work right out of college back in 2009. Born and raised a region rat from Northwest Indiana. Shout out Portage, local 3151. So second generation firefighter paramedic.
And you're the first communications director for the PFFUI. When did you start that role? First and only.
First and only. Well, you were doing some of that work, Tony.
We're good.
So
yeah, maybe trying.
So I would say late 20, early 2021 is when we were able to talk President Emeritus Hannafy into hiring me. There is a great picture of him and I looking at a Facebook page and me trying to explain to him what that was all about. It's one of my favorite pictures of all time.
It's the beginning of communications.
Right. So
Communications 101.
yeah. So it was kind of one of those where we had the opportunity, or I was given the opportunity to come in here some years ago and really get to kind of shape of what our communications is today with the help of the executive board and the leadership. And really, it's been a wild ride, and I can't believe it's only been a short period of time because it feels much longer, or vice versa.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you. It feels much, much longer. So, so good to have you on this side of the table, Erik. You're still running the board and everything here
Right.
for today's episode of the podcast. But so after I became state president in 2022, we decided there was a need to develop this team and expand it and grow it, both, sort of for statewide coverage. But we had a lot of things going on, which we'll talk about. So I want to introduce or have him introduce himself, Tim Gallagher. Tim is part of the communications team. We'll just call comms team.
Yeah, comms for short.
Because it sounds much cooler.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, so Tim, welcome to the podcast.
Well, thank you for having me. My name is Tim Gallagher. I am another proud 416 member from here in Indianapolis area. I'm a medically retired firefighter from Wayne Township. I currently am a EMT for the Beech Grove district. I am also the dual-rolled. I am on the comms team here for the PFFUI. I am the assistant to the executive staff for the local 416, where I handle the communications, the peer support, and then the executive office stuff. So I am very fortunate to do a number of different things. Working here with communications with the executive board for the PFFUI has been awesome. Able to help out in a number of different ways and just kind of do some great things with you guys. So
good to have you, Tim, and welcome to the podcast. We're going to go now to Kenny Woosley. Please, welcome to the show. Tell us about yourself.
Thanks, Johnny. My name is Kenny Woosley, Evansville Professional Firefighter Local 357, Southern Indiana. I am elected as a trustee, and then I'm appointed by President Zuber as our communications director. I've been a firefighter in Evansville for going on 9 years now. I'm just proudly born and raised in Evansville. Unlike Scheub, I do not have a formal background in communications. I just had some exposure doing some business advertisement in a previous career, and an amateur photographer at best. So luckily I was able to adapt these skills for the local 357 and eventually the PFFUI comms team, and been here since.
Well, welcome to the show, and we appreciate having you. I think you're better than just average photographer. You do a nice job.
Right. I mean, I would say at least above average.
Above average. And then to round out this comms team is Nick Pabon. Nick, welcome to the podcast.
How's it going, Tony? Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
So Nick Pabon, I am from local 475, Michigan City Fire Department. I don't have a background like Erik does, but I served as the public information officer for our department for just about a year, and I'm gonna pat myself on the back. I thought I did a pretty decent job. Going down to convention, I heard that there was a comms team being developed, and I talked to Parkhouse, and I was like, I'm interested. Little did I know, about a week or two later, I got a call from Erik and extended the opportunity, which I was happy to join. Other than that, I've been on the Michigan City Fire Department for just over 10 years now. Happy to be here.
Well, we're happy to have you and everybody on the team. And if those that are listening, where our team comes from, it's pretty strategically placed throughout the entire state because, we represent over 9,200 members across 97 locals in the PFFUI, and there's a lot going on. So let's, I will say, although, we're making Erik as like the supreme commander of communications, but I think you guys all do a lot, with it engaged in your local, engaged in the PFFUI, and so on. You guys are busy, and I appreciate you being part of this team. I will mention that everybody on the comms team for the PFFUI are graduates of the IFF Communications Academy, Communications Training Academy, which is huge. That's a big thing. And this is something that the IFF puts together and selects members to attend. I think there's a limited number each year. It's about 50 or so. So all of you have learned your craft and your skills, and to help us do this communications thing and push out the messaging of not only locals but the state union as well. So thanks for being here. The comms team is busy. Often I'm on the road quite a bit, so it's nice to have sort of the regional diversity of the comms team, so they can sort of meet, at an event, whether that's a charter presentation or anything that we're doing, somewhere around the state, meeting with legislators, and having those conversations. We like to throw that out. Why, Erik, talk a little bit about the comms team here at the PFFUI and what you cover, and what materials you produce.
Right. So shortly after that, I had the opportunity for the communications director role. Is that we learned that the state union is a very large entity that goes to a lot of different things, and it's really impossible for just one person to cover those things. We decided to really engage members that had been to the Communications Academy and that have a skill and an interest in the comms work, but we're also strategically placed throughout the state of Indiana. It became incredibly difficult to, on a off day, to travel to Gary or to Jeffersonville and then come back, edit photos, and go to work the next day. So if we had somebody in southern Indiana that could meet, you, Tony, or a district vice president at an event, take photos and share what is going on there, we wanted to do that. So we decided to create the comms team. Nick, Tim, and Kenny have been a wonderful addition. They are great to bounce ideas off of each other and really know what is still relevant within not only the comms field, but also what's going on within the state of Indiana. News can only travel as quickly as we receive it. So if there's something going on within a part of the state that needs to be brought to our attention, it is nice to have those eyes and ears that can share that information with us, so that we can help promote events or newsworthy items that are going on throughout the state of Indiana here at the state level.
Kenny, why do you think that it's important? What's your perspective on the need for why this work is needed? Why do we need to be doing this?
Yeah, I think it comes back to the age-old question of, it shows the importance of what is the union doing for me. So we're highlighting the work that the PFFUI is doing for its membership all across the state, whether it's up in Gary, down in Evansville, Jeffersonville, or Michigan City. I think it gives local leaders an opportunity to show why are they traveling to these events and what are the importance of these events, and highlight the good work we're doing outside of the state house, that there's work being done every day all across the state for the betterment of firefighters, EMTs, dispatchers.
Yeah, and I think too that we do 2 education series events where we're educating leadership that are affiliate leaders around the state. We're doing a legislative conference. We do some additional PEP education, but we also annually do a memorial. I think it's really important that the comms team is engaged, because you're helping us capture the PFFUI history, to look back on and to, kind of create that time capsule. It'll be interesting to maybe, I won't be around, but, 60 years from now, 100 years from now, we're in our 90th year as an existence, but let's say, at the 200th anniversary of the PFFUI, for those people that are involved in doing this stuff, what they might think about what we were doing at this time. So I think it's important, and I appreciate all of you guys working, to always be trying to put firefighters, EMSR members, and their locals and the PFFUI out front and really in the best light possible. I would ask you this, Kenny, can you give a thought on why you enjoy telling the story about our members as a member of the comms team?
Yeah, I mean, I enjoy telling the story of members, whether it be for the state or my home local, for a variety of reasons. I said it earlier, but I want to show people that firefighters are more than just an expense on a report. We are working men and women providing for our families in a very noble career. And as Scheub said, we're typically a very humble group of people, and we don't like to highlight ourselves and say, look at me, look at me. And the fact that we can show we are doing so much more than just going to work, clocking in, clocking out.
I think that's well said. Erik, what do you think? What's important about this work for you?
I think it gives our members a platform to share their successes. But also what is important to me personally is the stories that we get to share with our members' families. Oftentimes we go to work for 24 to 48 hours at a time, and our families don't really know what we do every day. Whether it's, helping somebody that might be having a medical emergency or responding to a car accident or going to a structure fire. But also this work highlights the good that we're doing for the future. The benefit of meet and confer, the benefit of the contract that we just signed, or the money that we raise for charity, or the training that we do every day to prepare for emergencies. Our families don't get to see that. I think highlighting this work really shows the importance not to just our members, but our family and loved ones that we see every day.
So we want to talk a little bit about communicating at the local level and what kind of things our team helps to provide locals who are trying to communicate a message. Either, an isolated message if they have an issue, or just to help kind of do normal day-to-day, I guess, if you want to talk about it, like social media posts or, communicating an event or what that looks like. We have actually conducted the PFFUI's version of a comms training academy back last year, 2024, in the spring, and it was really well attended. We got a lot of locals represented because I think that they had an interest in trying to figure out how they can communicate better, both internally and externally. And I guess what I mean by that is, like, our internal communication is to our members, our external communication is to the audience of citizens and things like that. That maybe we want to bring something to light. We always have to have, I think it's important to have these communication platforms. So, kind of looking at that, what does the PFFUI comms team provide for locals to kind of help them? Kenny, I would ask you that.
Yeah, so kind of you already touched on it, but one of the big things we did last year was the PFFUI Communications Training Academy, and that brought in local affiliates from all over the state just to hear kind of what we thought were some of the best practices and how we can help them establish their brand and get out there.
And you guys tend to stay pretty, like, the comms team members here stay pretty up to speed about what is like emerging and what's effective and kind of all things comms, right? I mean, that's something that you're paying attention to.
We try to. I mean, the landscape is always shifting. The algorithms are always changing. New tools are always coming out. So how can we share that information to other local leaders, other local communicators?
Yeah. And yeah, Erik.
Well, and I think we also have a advantage on our day-to-day, right? So we are in the firehouses and we see the way that our members receive messaging, whether it's good, bad, or indifferent messaging. We can see what's effective and what's not effective. We can put those practices into play when we see something that works.
Yeah, and I think from the union perspective too, what I've heard, it's something that we based our, kind of objective on the communication side is I've heard for years from members going, well, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening in the local. So I think it's important that we try to address that. And here at the state union, we try to communicate in a variety of ways, which we can get into a little bit, but it's not just one means. So it's podcasts, it's social media platforms and messaging, which you have to, I guess, stay current and, create content all the time. We've got a newsletter, we've got a website, we use email, but then the personal communication as well, which, you guys produce many of like flyers and different announcements and things like that we use. But I would ask Kenny, from a local perspective, Why should locals communicate, and where should they be communicating?
Yeah, so, Evansville, Local 357, we're in the southern tip of Indiana, so we're really disconnected from kind of what happens in central Indiana just geographically. So, we try to really take the PFFUI communications that Erik puts out and make sure, one, that we're echoing them on our page so our membership and our community is informed of some of the issues that are happening at the State House, but also just keeping that brand awareness all the way down here. The other big thing we're kind of working on is day in and day out, we're trying to establish our brand. Some people would say that our brand's already established, but we keep that going even in times of peace or when we don't have issues that we're currently facing.
Yeah, like the
And we'll be
Evansville
more-
or the insert local firefighter brand. Is that what you're talking about? Just an awareness?
Yeah, just awareness, showing what our people are doing outside of just work. They're more than just a line item on the budget or payroll number.
Why do you think that's important to do?
I think it drives that community and membership engagement. When we show the community what we're doing and we show the members that, hey, we are constantly out there representing the interest of firefighters across the state, Southern Indiana, Evansville, I think you see that people find value in their local and their state organization at that point.
Yeah. What do you think, Erik?
I think for us, it provides us to showcase the good work that professional firefighters, paramedics, and EMTs are doing in our communities every day, whether it's at the state level or at the local level. There is a story to tell, is that whenever you do call 911 in the state of Indiana or X amount community, is that you're going to have highly trained and highly skilled professionals that are going to answer the call day or night. And that's something that I feel that, we take for granted, or that the public sometimes might take for granted because whenever you call 911, someone's going to be there. So if we can show them that, we are normal people that train every day, or we're responding to emergencies, or we're supporting charities that they care about, that they are going to take ownership, and they're not just a fire department, they are our fire department, and they are our firefighters, and they are our paramedics. It is those things that the public doesn't know about it unless we tell them about it. We don't like to gloat, we don't like to share our successes, but we have to. We now live in an environment where budgets are a real thing. New fire trucks take longer to get here. Equipment is more expensive, and our costs of doing business keeps on going higher. So we need to help build our case of we exist for the people, and that if we want to continue to have that same level of success and that same level of service delivery, we need the public support. So we always have to be selling, right? Always be selling.
Always be selling. I think these are really good points. And I one thing, we're on social media because that's where, our members are taking information from social media. So is the external customer, right? The external person, the citizen, and even like stakeholders and decision makers. Everybody's absorbing at least a portion of their information from social media. So I think that's why we're on the social media platforms to be in that space, because people are taking up the information from there. And I think that some things that people that aren't involved in fire EMS take and get information, like they learn something from the things that both the locals might be sharing, what's going on in their community, but also what the state union is doing, for industry-wide sort of topics. So they're learning. We're going to talk a little bit about how this comms team helps locals in planning communication. Erik, can you talk a little bit about what you guys can provide to locals in terms of planning out their communication or helping them communicate?
Right. So planning is really the key to any success when it comes to anything, especially when it comes to communications. We can provide them examples and documents of a 12-month communication calendar. And this basically lays out the important dates, holidays, social events that are happening at a national, state, and local level that they can help create content around and for. Whenever I work with a new local, I always say is that you should have X amount of posts a month that are just layups. You have to do the basics incredibly well to help build that audience. So,
And that's the reason why, right? You're
Absolutely.
building an audience, somebody that can check in.
right.
Yeah, okay.
And so every holiday, we're going to create a holiday image, Happy 4th of July from X local firefighters, or
And that's happy.
Right, that's happy.
And people
Right.
like to,
yeah,
celebrate,
absolutely.
even on socials.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But firefighter cancer prevention is a great way to communicate. January is Cancer Awareness Month, so you can create posts running that and facts and figures around how cancer affects firefighters and prevention and resources if you are going through that.
And that's important because
Correct.
we have a lot of our members affected by, this particular disease, right? It's an issue. So bringing some awareness
Right.
for that. And that's kind of, the idea behind this too, but also connecting members with resources as well. But also, I guess, additionally, letting people know that it's not in the fire business, that this is an issue that we're dealing with and that our members are dealing with, kind of humanizing.
Oh, yeah.
Like I think somebody alluded to that earlier. Yeah.
And I also think it's a great tool for us to educate our members what we do, because I'm not sure if you have ever heard this, Tony, but I have heard it once or twice. It is, what is our union doing for me?
Yeah, I've heard that.
And that is why we always give best practices of if you're going to a city council meeting or a town council meeting, just take a picture from the audience and throw it up on social media saying that local XYZ is attending the Everytown USA council meeting this evening representing our brothers and sisters.
Yeah. Because sometimes they're making decisions
Right.
that affect us. Other times they're just making decisions that doesn't directly affect firefighter, but it affects the community. And that's always something that I've really just being present.
Yeah.
And representing, our members. That's important. So just being present. What are some other best practices that you can think of, Erik, about communicating in the social media space?
So I always say that, simple is probably better. Long drawn out posts, while they might be necessary sometimes, people aren't reading them just because of the attention span. We have X amount of seconds to make an impact on our viewers on our timeline. So think about how often you are on your phone or on your computer and how quickly you look at a post. And that's how long we have to make an impact on the people that we're trying to target. So just make sure that, something that looks professional, sharp, but, brevity can be your best friend. Oftentimes with especially Instagram or Facebook, that if you do decide to schedule a post, you will find out what time is the best time to post based on your followers and the analytics. So you can go on the back end of these social media sites and see what the best times are to post. So I would use that information the best that you can. Oftentimes the algorithms do change, and those do change every so often. So it's important to keep up to date with that, but just give your posts the best chance to succeed. Have your members like and comment on them, because that's going to boost the placement of the post within those normal feeds. But also
It helps get the message out.
Absolutely.
More, to expanded audience, right?
Right.
Okay.
There is no silver bullet when it comes to communications. There's no one way that where it will get to everybody. So you're going to have to post on multiple platforms. You're going to have to find different mediums. Like you were talking about earlier, is that, we have a podcast, we have a snail mail newsletter. There are certain things that you can do. We always say is that there are certain places in the firehouse that you can put up posters. The most effective form of communication is face-to-face communication. So social media is not a substitute for station rounds.
Yeah, I would agree.
It is not a substitute for district meetings or local meetings. Don't underestimate just going to a firehouse, sitting down, having a cup of coffee, and just shooting the bull with the guys and gals. And you can get a lot more done with that than you can with a social media post. But also, when it comes to this as well, is that things are changing and our landscape is changing. Just because we post a social media post about a issue that the city council might be taking on doesn't mean it's fixed. Social media is used in conjunction with meetings, or it's used in conjunction with other tactics, right? So just because you make a social media post about a budget decrease doesn't mean it's going to be fixed right away. So you have to do the normal work as well, but use communication to help supplement that.
Yeah, and I think from the socials too, it's a way to provide information, but it's also a way to ask for action. Ask for members to do something or community to do something in response to that. Kenny, do you have any thoughts on best practices for the use of social media? When we're talking about what can locals do to sort of elevate their awareness, in the community.
Yeah, I mean, best practices, I think Erik really hit on it, but having a plan in place. And that plan should be twofold. It should be for your internal communications to your membership, and it should be external for the community and the general audience. The other point on that, as far as like best practices, is really diversifying. It's not just a social media campaign. It's not just a large text sent out to membership. Having a plan in place that uses multiple facets, whether it be that newsletter, whether it be that email, whether it be a flyer hanging in the fire station, having something in place for all durations, all technical aspects, people, whether they love computers, hate them, a way for them to communicate with them.
All right, so now we're going to talk a little bit about sort of developing technology that's going to change the world, and that's AI. Yeah.
Oh yeah, AI is very hot right now. AI is having a moment.
Artificial intelligence. I'm just going to put it out that I don't know anything about AI. I'm more of a not wholesome intelligence, not the
Right.
artificial, but I do know that this thing exists, and I think that our resident expert on all things AI, because he studied this stuff, he may be a robot himself. I'm not sure. But Nick, Nick, a few things about AI. Can you tell us a little bit more about AI and kind of what you see AI, its place in the union business that we do, but also maybe into the business of what is AI going to create or help us do, like in the fire and EMS world?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm not going to say I'm an expert, but I've definitely been playing around with it for a few years now.
Are you a robot?
I cannot confirm or deny that. I like to think of myself as a machine.
Okay, great. I agree with that. All right, proceed.
So I actually was introduced to it at the Communications Training Academy. That was my first exposure to it.
When was that?
I think that was 22 or 23.
Okay.
So a couple years, 2-3 years now. And I think it was it was there, but it was still relatively new at that point in time. Not many people had their hands in it yet.
What is it?
So it is for us, I would say it's a tool to help us write and organize. I'm not, like I said, an expert or a tech guru where I know other businesses are using it for more automation. But for us, I think for local leaders, for fire and EMS, it's a tool to help us save time. Not a robot. It's not the Skynet taking over. Not yet, at least. But it definitely has a place.
Yeah. What do you think the place is like for fire and EMS right now? Because I know this is like rapidly developing. So what is the place for fire and EMS?
Very, very rapidly developing. The biggest thing for us is it's going to save time. It's going to be huge for local leaders. We know that leaders, they have families, they also have to do their role as a local leader. And that takes a ton of time.
So saving time by what? So it's what's it going to do? Like help us do research, help us write?
Absolutely.
How do you
so
that?
it'll help with. Let me first. I'm going to go through a few of the different common AI platforms. So you probably all heard of ChatGPT. That's the one that I use pretty natively. There's Claude, Perplexity. This is a pretty interesting one. So you mentioned research. So Perplexity AI, if you ask it a question or give it a prompt, it'll give you an answer, but it will also give you citations and links to the sources that it's pulling the information from. So you know it's coming from accurate information, and you can actually go and make sure it's coming from a reputable source, and you can dive deeper into the topics. Another one, Fathom AI. This one's not going to be necessarily needed for everybody, but some people, if you're using Zoom, Google Meet, or Microsoft Teams on a regular basis, it's a plugin that you can add to it, and it will record, transcribe, and summarize the meeting. So you can just talk, and then after the meeting's over, you can look back. It's all the notes are taken. So those are kind of like a general list of the common ones right now. There's a ton more out there, but those are the ones that I would say are worth looking into.
So with that, and that's really good information. And I just want to ask a question. So although I may regard AI as being somewhat new technology, I kind of was thinking about this, and we've been using spell check for a long time. Is that AI?
I would say that's a form.
That's a form of AI. So it's not really all that new. I mean, and certainly everyone knows that I need spell check. So I guess I've been a long time user. So Nick, you mentioned all these things, and this is great technology as it seems. Is there anything that we need to be cautious of when we're using this?
Yes.
Okay. What's that?
Yeah. So you're going to have some best practices. You're going to prompt people when we type into AI. You're going to ask it questions, and it's going to give you a product. It's going to give you a document that you can use, but you want to make sure that you don't just copy and paste that and then submit it, send it as an email or as a social media post or as a newsletter. Never trust that whatever AI gives you is going to be the best piece of communication to send out or to use. So you never want to copy and paste. Always proofread it.
Yeah, that's probably one of the biggest things is proofread. Yeah.
Absolutely. So I think what I've seen a lot of times is, and I see it all the time now, I know who's using AI because I know who's not proofreading it, is the tone that it gives. Like when you read a document, there's a specific tone to it. Like everybody has their own unique voice, or unions would have their voice. If they just copy and paste it, it does not seem authentic at all. And I call that AI slop. Sometimes it'll spit out just long, overly worded, over-polished junk that doesn't sound like anything you would say. So, and that's because it's so quick. The very first thing it gives you, that should just be a draft. So the rule of thumb is create a draft, proofread it, cut it down, and then make it sound like you.
Nice. And I've been having this discussion a little bit with my counterparts across the state. We brought this up in some meetings across the United States about, what should we be cautious of in terms of members using this and creating their reports, whether it be EMS or fire reports. And this is kind of a question out there. And then there's always, the legal quandary. What do we need to be considerate of in that space? I mean, right now, all I know is that, if you're using, like a voice to text or something to kind of dictate reports or whatever, you're still proofreading. Does the same thing apply if you're happen to be using AI to help write narratives or complete reports and that sort of thing? What do you think, Nick?
So I don't use it for reports. I know that that's being added to the different reporting systems. I think that would be complete, like, don't use ChatGPT for reports. Don't put people's sensitive information in there. Anytime I have a problem, I would always make sure to just, if you're going to use a name, use Jane Doe. Or, don't give specifics. You can still, enter in a fake name. But I would be worried that they're collecting information, because they are. That they're collecting information, making their system better. But as far as reporting goes, I couldn't get an answer there. I don't use it.
Would it be kind of good advice just to sort of make sure that you're not in violation of anything that you're doing in your, department rules and that sort of thing, or ask your department for guidance if you plan on using that? Is that a good, safe bet? Right?
Absolutely. I think if you're using a reporting system that has AI, I think the city and the administration probably should come with some policies and guidelines on how to use it. I wouldn't assume that you can use it.
Gotcha. I think that that's pretty important. So, kind of as we kind of wrap up AI stuff, where are we headed, do you think? Is this going to replace firefighters?
I know. I don't think it's going to replace firefighters. I think it's going to give union leaders the tools to do their job better.
Gotcha. And that's important. Well, I think I learned something. Did you guys learn anything about AI?
For sure. Yeah. And like that is something that we are starting to use more and more each time, is that we will create content and then we'll run it through AI just to see if we can get a enhanced version of it or something that's a bit more streamlined. But then we always go back and edit it as well. And also whenever we get these large documents, we can upload them into AI and get a summarized version of what is said within those documents as well. When it comes to public speaking, you can get talking points from things like that as well. So just like Nick said, is that there are tons of benefits from it, but also you have to go through and you have to edit it. Like it's not a one-stop shop for, oh, well, this just did it for me and I'm going to post it.
All right. Well, thanks.
I would actually,
yeah, go ahead.
I would actually say, just to add to that, it's always good to have somebody else read what you have created before you send it out too, because they have a different perspective. Just that little bit for thought there.
That's nice. And I think I sort of view it, although I'm not a user, except for the spell check. I kind of view it as like an assistant, kind of an assistant.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, well, thanks for the update on AI, Nick. I really have appreciated talking to you guys today and getting your perspective and thoughts on communications. And I just want to thank you for the work that you do. I know it's added work, but the work that you do to create a spotlight and maybe oftentimes a megaphone for what is happening and what our members are doing each and every day across the Hoosier State. And bringing that message out to a whole broader audience, or somebody that doesn't get to attend the convention, or somebody that doesn't get to go to an education, series, or so I really appreciate it. And I think the other thing too is I thank you for helping us to do our duty in terms of creating that time capsule as well, because history, particularly in this job, is really important. So thanks, and I appreciate all that you do, and thanks for coming on the PFFUI podcast.
How was hosting? Do you feel good? You feel good about yourself?
Hosting, yeah. I think, I nailed it.
Absolute no notes for you. It's fantastic.
Oh, this has been fun.
All right. Well, thank you guys, and we'll see you next month. Thank you for listening to the PFFUI podcast. Follow us on social media by searching the Professional Firefighters Union of Indiana. For more information about news and upcoming events, visit www.pffui.com. Until next time, this is PFFUI Communications Director Erik Scheub. Stay safe.